Yes. Bill?
I've lived on Long Island a long time, and I've been through this whole process in Suffolk and Nassau County. Long Island is a disparate community. You would take a look at it. What is it made up of? It's an educational spine. It's agricultural. It's service, hospitals. It's always been very difficult to bring the Long Island community together with a common goal to achieve something. Not been able to do it. This organization is sort of the foundation of that, because the LIA has not been able to accomplish it over the years that it's been here. That's been part of the problem. The other part is we were a bedroom community for many, many years. That's changing. Kids tend to move to New York City. They want to go to Brooklyn. They want to do those kinds of things. We don't encourage entrepreneurship here. Think of all the universities. How many of them have a course and invite Steve to lecture on entrepreneurship? Harvard does. They invite us up there to talk. So you can spark the interest in a youngster. He may have this thought in his mind, doesn't know how to go about it. How do I do that? Hey, Dad, I want to start something. How do I do that? We don't encourage it. We don't bring it together. We fail as a community in this regard. We're starting to change. The laboratory, Cold Spring, Stony Brook, Steve, John, that's starting to change. This organization, hearing John say that all these startup, I call them organizations, are coming together into one place, may be the basis for encouraging entrepreneurship, because there's no reason why we can't have it.
I think it's still, I think it has started, even at the, as you mentioned Stony Brook. I mean, Stony Brook, I'd say, has actually probably been in the forefront of starting the process. They have a boot camp to teach young scientists. It's similar to what goes on at the New York Academy of Sciences. There's from idea to IPO, and there's a competition at Stony Brook, and they have mentors, and they're starting to get the flow. But it takes time. The flow of getting people who are, they don't have to be scientists per se. They can be engineers. They can be anybody with a good idea that needs help. And okay, what do I do next? I've got an idea. How do I turn this into a business? What is a business plan? Why does anybody care about it? My idea should give me money because I got a good idea. They have to understand the process and why the process is evolved.
So in your guys' experience, how often have you found that the scientist or the engineer that came up with the idea is able to make that transition to CEO successful?
Well, the closest one is actually the one that John just mentioned, the scientist, Pablo Oyston, at Cold Spring Harbor, founded a company called Cetera that we funded. It has to do with mouse brain imaging for understanding the effects of drugs and predicting their effect in humans. And he is a go-getter. I mean, he's a scientist on the cover of a magazine kind of scientist, but he goes making sales call, and he may need help with some of the accounting issues, but he knows exactly what he's got to do. He's passionate about it. He knows everybody. He wants to do it. So it isn't. He understands that he likes being a scientist, but he wants to be out there, and he's got the passion for what he's spent his science on. So it happens. I've actually gotten similar questions at a different forum from students who are saying, "How do I find a company? How do I find the right place?" And they said sometimes it's a matter of luck, that you happen to be in the right lab when the idea comes out, and then you can raise your hand and say, "I'd like to be the one to take this," which happens to be the case of another of the companies from Cold Spring Harbor, where a postdoc, two postdocs, in the RNAi lab said, "We'd like to run this company." They didn't know, they'd never been entrepreneurs before, but they knew they had a lot to learn, but they're running this company and they are passionate about it and doing great. But
and they convinced both Houston and Cold Spring Harbor.
that they do, right.
So that brings a very interesting question.
That bar.
Do you think that any really smart person that has enough passion can learn what it takes to be a CEO and build a company?
In our case, it was that we were willing.
It's
to fill in all the gaps.
You need mentors.
You need to
You need
mentor.
mentors.
And that was part of the understanding, and we knew what we were getting into, but we understand that we're gonna have to fill in all the gaps. If they've never done a cash flow before, gonna have to show them how to do a cash flow, and how to keep books, and worry about the tax records, and how the payroll system work, and all the stuff, and filing their IP, and doing an employment agreement, and the 1,000 things that go on every day in running a business, but they want to learn. So if you take smart people that are willing to learn, they'll learn. But they have to be willing to do that work.
And you're right, so they have to be committed to it. And you know, at least my experience with working with so many smart people over so many years is that ability and intelligence is more generalized than the public thinks. You know, they can learn. A person is very bright in science, very bright, and they also actually, I find, write well. And because they think well if they go to law school. And so they with the right commitment